Okay, Assalamualaikum. Our group 3, will be presenting about women and modernity in Islam through Al-Quran and Hadith. And our group consists of me, myself, Ki Siti Nur Aisyah, Karina Aiman, Nur Amira Husna, Nur Azilawani, and Wan Hanan Sofia. Okay, Assalamualaikum. So my topic is comparison of Muslim women before and after Islam. Okay, this is the intro of my topic. And women used to be downgraded in the West and also in the Arabian Peninsula before the rise of Islam. But within the development of the world, perspective towards women have changed. Like women are getting more appreciated in political, economic, and social fields with their involvement in those fields. Okay, so with the rise of Islam, the divine sources to be an Khalifa is through Quran and Hadith. So in that two divine sources, there are written many verses of the right of woman, as we can see on politics, economics, and social aspects. Okay, so the first point is participation of Muslim women in politics. So one of the amazing figures is Aisyah binti Abu Bakar. During the time, she was one of the leaders in the Battle of the Camel against Nakitun, and she also joined many wars. And she do many small things to help the soldiers, like heal injured troops and executing minor tasks. And also, her biggest contribution is conveyed Prophet Muhammad's hadith. And during that time, she have conveyed 5,965 hadith. Okay. And one of the great figures that have written in the Al-Quran is Queen Bilqis of Sabah. Like she is one of the great leader. The way she managed her kingdom, her country is very amazing, especially when King Sulaiman invite her to worship Allah, and one of her officials suggested that they should do wars, but Queen Bilqis refused to do so because she thinks she doesn't want to approach King Sulaiman that way, so that her well-being of her people are being taken care of. Okay, and nowadays, one of the great figures like in leadership is the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Benazir Bhutto, and Indonesian President Megawati Soekarno Putri. Yes, they have done many good things in leadership in their own country. Okay, the next one is participation of Muslim women in economics. Okay, so during the time before Islam, women were not able to inherit money and property, and they're also not allowed involved in financial activities. Okay, but with Islam and Islamic laws, women are allowed and encouraged to own their own property and engaging with financial aspects to support her own well-being. Okay, so there are many Muslim women figures like involve participate in economic fields, and one of it is Khadija. She is a well-known and wealthy and successful businesswoman. And also al-Mundir binti al-Qais. She is one of the great Tamar dealer during that time. And Asma Baka Mahzama, a perfume seller. And Shifa binti Abdullah, she given a trust and responsibility by Abu Bakar to manage a market. And nowadays, as we can see, there are many powerful women involved in business, and one of it is Nilofa. She is one of the successful Muslim women entrepreneur in Muslim fashion. Okay. Yeah, the last one is participation of Muslim women in social. The status and position of women during Jahiliyyah is despised. Women are considered as the bearers of misfortune and burden of the families because they are the cause of poverty. Okay. And during the Jahiliyyah period, when they have a daughter, a baby girl, they will be buried alive. And uh, that is something Allah prohibited. Okay. Like in one of the verses, Surah An-Nahl, and when one of them is informed of the birth of a female, his face becomes dark and he suppressed grief. He hides from the people because of the ill of which he has been informed. Should he keep it in humiliation or bury it in the ground? Unquestionably, evil is what they decide. Okay, so with this verse, we can tell that Islam taught us to uplift the dignity of women values and roles in societies as mother, wives, and also daughters. Okay, and one person came to the Prophet Muhammad and asked, "Who among people is most deserving of my fine treatment?" He said, "Your mother." He again asked, "Who next?" "Your mother." The Prophet replied again. He asked, "Who next?" The Prophet said again, "Your mother." He again asked, "Then who?" Thereupon he said, "Then your father." Recorded by Abu Hurairah. Okay, so as we can see from the hadith that woman as a mother uh, is very respected in Islam. Also, during Jahiliyyah, women are only seen as an object to be sold to husband. But with the Islamic laws, they have the right to marry someone and to refuse to marry someone. And also, during the Jahiliyyah, they are not emphasized to get an education because it's not important to them. But during the time of Muhammad, all people, including women and men, are urged to be knowledgeable, as Prophet Muhammad's daughter, Fatima, are knowledgeable and educated. Like Prophet will stand up and gives his seat to her daughter to sit. Okay, so that's how amazing an educated person is. So that is all from me, and thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Azilawani Mtizami and I'm going to continue present about the subtopic violation of women rights across culture. Okay, first issue is women being abused by their husband. So marriage in Islam is seen as a significant and sacred union joining between a man and a woman that satisfies half of one's religious commitments. Is it stated in the Quran as follows? Among his signs is that he created for you spouse from yourself so that you might find repose with them. And he has placed between you affection and mercy. In that there are certainly signs for people who reflect. Next, Allah SWT disallowed, or if nothing else, seriously diminished unreasonable savagery against women. Allah SWT more than once says in the Quran to show love, thoughtfulness, and cautions that they ought not hurt their spouse even after separation. Allah SWT has even illegal us to call each other by awful names and to embrace. The offensive conduct does not mirror the thoughtfulness and love for their mates. This is also a verse from the Quran, which is, all devotees treat women with thoughtfulness, regardless of whether you despise them. Is it very conceivable that you love something which Allah may yet make a wellspring of bountiful grapes? Furthermore, issue of women being mistreated in inheritance. In Islam, the share from one man is equal to two women. Is it stated in Quran, which is from what is left by parents and those nearest related? There is a share for men and a share for women, whether the property to be small or large, a determinate share. Moreover, women freedoms to rise to legacy to approach portions of marital property to acknowledgement as genuine and legitimate proprietor of land and property, who can purchase, sell, rent, and raise credits based on that property, are denied everywhere in a wide scope of societies and networks. So if a woman has abundance, she is not needed to spend it for her family and she must save it if she wants. All belongings that she gains through work, mirror, gifts, legacy, or some other genuine strategy are exclusively hers and she can gather everything in the event that she wishes. Last point, which is issue of women being treated harm. Women being treated harm physically and mentally in the society, such as sexual harassment, rape, black pain, and beating. Islam disallows any kind of harassment towards women in and is protected under the law. Without a doubt, there is no educated in Islam when examined in its total setting, which approves any sort of abusive behavior. And lastly, the abuse towards women, either mentally or physically, are totally prohibited in Islam. Allah SWT has stated in Quran, which is who does good, whatever male or female, and is a believer, shall enter paradise, and they shall not be wronged of it. Thank you.
Women and leadership in Islam. Women as a leader. The stereotype of women in politics involvement, as some scholar believes that women should not involve in political activities, but to seek women to stay at home. However, women also can participate in political activities and be responsible in their society and destiny, as the verse from Surah Al-Mumtanah, Ayah 10. Equality and equity between men and women, as it shows that women leader is still a minority group because men outface the women as a leader across the globe. The perceptions of a Muslim woman in leadership is still negative. Secondly, the woman leader figure in Islam. There was a historical example that led women in being a leader as they achieved such an excellent position that is mentioned in the Al-Quran and Hadith. First is Bilqis was the queen of Saba, well known by people in the history of Arabia. The ability of Queen of Saba to use tactics before accepting Islam indicates there is experience, reasonableness, and political diplomacy shows the role of leadership. Secondly is Khadijah binti al-Khuwailid is the first wife of Prophet Muhammad and a successful businesswoman that operates with fair dealing business and provide high quality products to the consumer. She contributing to the economy as she would give away her earnings to the needs. Lastly, the impact of past Muslim women figures. Women figures in Islam like Khadijah, Aisha, Salama, and other early figures are contributing ways to sustain and support in growth and spiritual learning. Okay, firstly, due to increase of democratization in the Muslim community, women will get more influence in the political area. The women leadership have no limitations except for being a Khalifa. For the last 10 until 15 years, the growth of Muslim women as a leader due to education, social roles, and human rights are able to increase the female participation in political activities. Young Muslim women wish that more representation for women in politics and other sectors as the symbol of inclusive women's rights. Islamic movement is increasing the political reforms in attract attention for recognition of Islamic perspective that influenced by Islamic teaching and practices with emerging female from the Middle East, Africa, East and Southeast Asia, Europe, and North America communities. Thank you. Now I will pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Wan Hana Sofia binti Wan Abu Bakar with matric number 2015912. First of all, I will be talking about challenges on contemporary issues faced by women, which will cover issues such as sexual harassment, balancing work and responsibilities, and workplace discrimination. My first point is sexual harassment, which has been the major contemporary issue by women in Malaysia as it is a violation of a person's right. It is no doubt that there will be many negative impacts on the victims regarding this issue. Next, I also include supporting facts, for example, verses from Quran to support my point. One of them is from Surah An-Nur verse 30, mentioned, "Tell the believing men to reduce some of their vision and guard their private parts. That is purer for them. Indeed, Allah is acquainted with what they do." Next, I also cite several surveys that have been done to support my point, as well as to further discuss the issue of sexual harassment, as well as sexual violence. My second point is the issue regarding balancing work and responsibilities. So one of the supporting facts that I include in this research is Hadith narrated by Sunan Ibn Majah to support my point that women are allowed to work as long as they do not neglect their main responsibility as a wife and a mother. People always have this idea that women should stay at home as housewives and let men alone go to work, while Islam allows women to work. Besides, it is common now to see women searching for jobs for a better future. In fact, Siti Khadijah also was a great businesswoman and also proved that women also can balance between work and responsibility. So, for my last point, I will be discussing the issue regarding workplace discrimination faced by women. Also, almost half of the women mentioned that they will be asked about their marital status. Also, they will not get the promotion even if they are a better candidate. I cite from Quran to support my point that mankind should be tolerated and fair to others. Other than that, women also need to receive equal service in various aspects of life and not just men. Women should be given more opportunities apart from discriminating them in the workplace. That's all from my part. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Amirah Husna binti Muhzar with metric number 20163356. Today, I will present to you in regards with some misconceptions that raised by Westerns regarding Muslim women. This subtopic will explain the misconceptions about how Islam treats women, which the Western commonly use to promote the idea that Islam is oppressive. So the first misconception is in terms of hijab. There have been many misunderstandings raised about hijab to disrupt the peace of Islam. And hijab is an Islamic idea that is most commonly seen in women's apparel to cover their aura and a symbol of modesty. And one of the most common misunderstandings of hijab is that hijab is only about covering the head part and not the other parts. So for example, like Muslim women in the Asian nations such as Malaysia wear merely a headscarf without a loose shirt and pants in the majority of situations. So as the body shape can be recognized by others and may influence others' desire to them, this does not fit at all the notion of hijab or even accomplish the maqasid Sharia. Allah has said in the Quran in Surah An-Nur verse 31, which is Allah explained in detail that women should cover their aura perfectly as required in the Islamic law of the whole body except the face and palms of the hands. This clearly proves that the concept of hijab that only covers the head part is wrong in Islam because hijab carries a very large meaning and among them is to cover the aura. Next, another issue confronting Muslim women in this modern world is the subject of inheritance law. The question of why women inherit wealth and property less than men is a source of debate as it likely seems that Islam promotes inequality towards women. Like in Surah An-Nisa verse 11, Allah said, "A son's share is equal to the share of two daughters," which people can claim that it is a discrimination. But in this scenario, Islam promotes equity rather than equality by providing inheritance to men and women according to their situation and need. So there are circumstances that allow women to inherit property more than men. For example, like they get a dowry paid by their husbands. But on the other hand, according to Imam Ar-Ridha, Muslim women have been supported in a variety of ways. So even if she has wealth and property, all economic duties fall to men. He is responsible for her expenses, whereas a wife is not responsible for her husband's financial assistance. So it is logic to say that men should have a larger portion than women. The last Western misconception towards Muslim women is regarding women's rights in divorce. In Western perspectives, they consider that Islam does not allow wives to ask for divorce, and that is a violation of rights against women. This seems to indicate that Islam is a religion that suppresses women. There is no denying that there is a hadith which stated any woman who asks her husband for divorce without justification is forbidden to smell heaven upon her. But then the wife is permissible to ask for divorce if she has a clear reason, and one of the way through fasakh. So fasakh is where the wife or her blood relations tell the judge about her valid circumstances such as her husband's brutality, reluctance, or inability to maintain her, and the judge could grant her a divorce decision without her husband's agreement. Westerners misconcept this because they only focus on talaq, whereby the husband can divorce his wife instantly, while Islam actually allows a wife to claim divorce when they are mistreated. This actually proves that Islam is actually particular in safeguarding women's rights.